Hello, you comic book kings. I am your host, J.Crager. We're here tonight for our third episode of For Comics Sake, the hour and a half, 2 hour show that does comic books better from the ground up, and we're going to show you how it's fucking done. So tonight, I'm going to introduce my always co-host and partner in crime, William Perdomo.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for another evening of For Comics Sake.
How are you tonight, my friend?
I am fantastic, and I want to say hello to Jolly Green being the first man at this time. That last time he wasn't the first man, but he's been two in a row, or two first men. So
it's pretty quick.
always.
Let me get our guest in here too, so I don't.
I just wanted to get in the first. You know how that is.
Absolutely, the first is always the best. So thank you so much for jumping in, Jolly Green. And tonight we have a friend and a colleague in arms, and artist, and colorist, and letterist. He did the logo for Jawbone Death. He's colored many comic books in the comic realm. We are talking about Billy BACSKO.
What up, yo?
Welcome, Billy.
We got double Williams officially.
Oh yeah, I just never consider you a William.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always tell this. Like, people always ask, they're like, "Oh, you're William. So are you ever gonna stop calling yourself Billy? Like Bill or William?" I'm just like, no.
No.
Nah.
You're almost 50, really, Billy? That's what you're gonna keep? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Like,
maybe Bill. Drop the Y.
Oh no! Like, it's makes me feel like my grandma's talking to me. She always tried to push that.
I'm glad to have you on, Billy. You're an old buddy in this thing, comrade. Lots of peaks and valleys.
Yeah, well, many people may not know this, and like most of the chat probably doesn't know this, but Will actually gave me my first interior comic contract. Like, he had seen my posters and my pinups that like I had illustrated, and some of the stuff I had entered into coloring contests working on other people's work. And he gave me my first comic interior jobs working on the 0.5 issue one of the short stories in there for Black Flag that is still primed to come out. The pirate story that was drawn by Matthew Weldon. That was that was my first interior comics gig.
We'll remind everybody with it, because I'm authorized to show it. So we'll show that later on. And I also met you. I got to see that excellent work because of our good friend and mutual friend Dan Plagle, who is in the chat.
Yep.
He is right there saying hello, friends.
Yep.
I miss.
He called me earlier today, and I was on the freeway, and I couldn't pick up the phone.
Well, we had him on last year. Last week we had a great show. So it started a little slow, but we hit our stride, I think.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're doing okay.
Should we say hello to our friends?
We should. Go ahead.
All right. So we got our good friend Hockey from Down Under. Welcome, Hockey. How you doing, sir? We got the meat bag, of course. Marco Golly, the Madman.
Yes.
We've got Billy, of course, saying wonderful things here, and Hal Deere saying hello to everyone, like the fine gentleman that he is. Thank you for coming, sir. We've got the always faithful GJ Martinez, who got an excellent set of J.Crager commissions in the mail. Go check that out. He got that beautiful Spider-Man. He got a Ghost Rider, and he got the Tex style Sabretooth. So congratulations, sir, on that.
He sure did.
We also have Dan Plagle, as we just said. Mm-hmm. We've got a gentleman I haven't seen here, which is Metal Movies and Brewskis. Welcome, sir. And we've got a pretty insignificant person, and I won't even say his name, in the form of Jason Bascom, good friend. That's why we can rib him. And then we also, I think that is it. We're caught up. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and I give it to you guys. What are we doing?
All right. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was flipping through some weird stuff the other day, and hopefully you guys can see this. I did this a while back with a friend of mine named Russell Whaley, and it's here. Let me go full screen, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. So it's kind of silly and funny, and it's Billy the Killer Clown. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Awesome.
I don't hear any audio though.
No audio?
Yeah, you might not have clicked the little box when sharing.
Hold on.
Okay, we all do it. We all do it, Jason.
Oh, dude. It should just be on by default.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not.
Let me go back.
It's a time mistake.
Which little box?
So when you go to share this actual window, there's like a click box when you go to share the window that says share audio too, I think, on there.
See, show share screen. Let's share at least 2 monitors, share screen.
And I also see there's 24 people watching. Thank you guys for being so faithful and coming back to join us week to week. The show's growing, and we are.
You might have to do it instead of share screen. You might have to share application, and then it will do share audio. Maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
When you share screen, screens don't usually have audio attached to them? You know, technically.
That is true. Okay. Well, maybe I won't be showing it, so maybe I'll have to do that next time.
Okay. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be too hard. Like, I mean, there should be like share browser tab or share application, and then it will just bring up that YouTube thingy and have the audio box.
Share Mozilla, and then it says mute website notification while sharing. So I'll allow, and then I can go to this. I don't know. Let's see. No, you're still not able to hear it. Let's see. That's weird. You know.
Oh, Jason says share window is the one that he uses, and you can see that the
share window. Okay. Let's try.
I'll let Aki know that he presented, so if he wins, he'll win.
Oh, and Jason's also saying Firefox sometimes is an asshole and just doesn't like to share the audio.
It says use Chrome if you like to share audio with your screen. And I'm not using Chrome, I'm using Firefox. So that is a no-go today. So that's okay. I was just going to show this silly clip from forever ago that I did with a friend of mine of a clown killing me, which I believe I've shown it before.
So you were acting in it. That's what your part was?
I guess that's what they call that, but I don't know.
Shall we bring up the Wheel of Pain and then we can get into the show? Or
oh, fucking Christ. Yeah, I've been trying to put it off, but I guess we have to do it. So
we have to know what we're drawing tonight, or you gentlemen are drawing tonight.
We literally only have 10 people in here right now, so hopefully,
we've got 27 people in here now.
Oh yeah,
watching.
27. I don't see 27. What happened?
That's what it says, but I could be wrong. And I'm sharing my window. So here it is. I've tried to be as egalitarian as possible, which is to leave it up to chance. You will get none of our interference, none of our preferences, none of the cantankerous desires of one Jason Crager. So if the chat's ready, I'm ready. If the panel's ready, I'm ready.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Can we just? I want to read. Can we just read really quick what all these are? Okay. I just want. I'll read them out, and I'll tell you how many. I have no idea what they are.
Sure. Okay. I've got the list right here. I'll show you right there. Yeah, you can see it right there, Billy.
Terror from Terror Inc. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
The Unknown Soldier. I feel like I know what it is, but nothing's coming up.
It's a Garth Ennis book. The one that Gillian Plunkett drew.
Okay. Frazetta's Death Dealer. Okay, I know that one. Death F. Sandman. Not sure what that one is. Old Man.
Oh, it's Death from Sandman.
F is from Sandman.
Oh, Death from Sandman. Okay, I know what that one is. Old Man Mad Max. All right. Xena Warrior Princess. Okay.
Yeah.
Strife by GJ. I can't read the end of that. What is it?
GJ Martinez. So my friend GJ wants us to draw Strife from X-Men and
Okay.
and
I saw a couple from He-Man.
X-Force. Yeah.
Uh,
Bunch of He-Mans.
TBH and HR Worthington.
Whatever that
Yeah,
is.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Whoever that is, can they please clarify what that character is?
Cherubim
From Eden.
Okay, I
And they posted a photo of it on his suggestion.
Yeah, it's a manga.
King of the Beasts. Cherubim was the robot. Okay, yeah.
Yes, that's what he posted.
King of the Beasts from One Piece. Okay, yeah. I actually haven't gotten there. That's like pretty far into the series. Wow. This is upside down, so I'm like, it's too small.
You don't see on the side where I opened up the list, or is it too small?
Even full screen, it's just too small for me. Was it Commandus? Come
on us.
Commodus from Gladiator.
Okay.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Commodus. Oh, okay. Another He-Man? He-Man's on there twice. Okay. And Caliban as
Pestilence.
Okay. And
as one of the four horsemen.
Yeah, well, my chances of really falling on my face are super high, so let's spin this wheel.
Shall we spin? You guys ready?
Mine too, man. So
chat ready?
I'm in no mood for this fucking shenanigans.
You will. That's why I call it the Wheel of Pain, homeboys. So
Thanks,
that's why you've got this cooming face of Conan the Barbarian right there. All right, let's do it.
What the fuck?
Oh my god, watching his face spin like that is scary. Oh my god, of course.
Which one is it? It's Wolfsbane. Comics at Wolfsbane Comics. He-Man.
It's He-Man, which they have fucking mercy on us. Jesus Christ.
Woo, thank God for the
So Wolfsbane, you are the winner. Are you here, gentlemen?
Yeah,
gentleman.
Please be here so it's easy on us.
Well, no, I think that if he's not here, then we should automatically default to the other person that picked
to hockey.
We can just pick He-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not here, it's going to hockey as the other He-Man. That is the rules I've just made up.
And you should be in the YouTube. Like, just being in the one on X doesn't really apply.
And there's no excuse. We warned you about this, so ignorance does not constitute defense.
Yeah. So if you can hear us right now on X, you should probably hustle your ass in here. And
no, hockey. That was the wonderful Tokume, and he already won, so I didn't include him because he won already the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
I figured let 3 go by, and then they can add on because that's not cool. Pile on.
And I have to send the thing to fucking Australia. Jeez. Nice.
I'm gonna have to split that with Crager and kick in for that one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is he here? Are you here, Wolfsbane? Should we give him? Let's get started because we know hockey's here, and we'll give him. I don't know. We'll give him a little bit to claim it.
We'll see if Wolfsbane claims it by the
All right, Wolfsbane.
And if Wolfsbane shows up, then I'll give hockey my digital version that I do.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
We got. We've had quite a few people come in and comment since we began.
Yeah.
So hockey had to disappear. He'll be back, but I told him he's good. He was here. Let's see. Our good friend Jay says, draw Lufa from Pirate Show. Billy knows.
Oh, Luffy, yeah. No, we don't have to draw that. That's
something I should know about Billy. Something I should know about you.
No, it's Luffy from One Piece. I'm a big One Piece fan.
And look who it is. Our good friend Luke, the extremely multi-talented giant Viking heathen, is here.
Nice.
Welcome, Luke. Thank you for coming, my good friend. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Luke. Hi, Jason.
I don't feel so alone when you're here.
Hi, Metal Movies and Brewskis. Hi, Gordon. Hi, Hockey. Hi, Marco. Hi, everybody.
They are all great choices for
Oh.
comic sakes.
Hi, Herman.
Yeah. Luke is, of course, as per usual, laughing at my
Gordon Good Brothers here. Welcome, sir.
failure to recognize comic book stuff.
Somebody wanted Xena.
We can talk about this. I mean, right off the bat. I mean, because I've talked to Will about it. Like, I dipped out of like American comics super early.
Yeah.
Well, because like once it was like basically freshman year of high school, like maybe even 8th grade. Because like once I saw what Mirage and like Studio Proteus and Dark Horse were bringing us from Japan, I completely dipped out of most American comics and never looked back. Like I was just like, oh, dude, because like my favorite comic book is Appleseed. That's my favorite comic book of all time. When I started seeing that stuff, I was just like, I didn't even know it was called cyberpunk, back then. But like, I'm like, I think this is my favorite genre, and like, I like really technical robots, and nobody in the West was doing robots anywhere near as close as like what the Japanese were doing at the time.
Right.
Yeah, late 90s or late 80s, early 90s when they were accessing those books at Mitsuwa and Yauhan. Remember Yauhan? That was like the secret stash where all the comic artists in America were getting their art books and sneaking those into their stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had this conversation with people. They're like, oh, I don't like the small manga format or whatever. I'm like, no, I got Appleseed in regular comic book size, 22 pages every month. Like it was delivered to me just like any regular comic would be. It just, the content was different.
Yeah, and I'd say that was because we talked about this with Rini, that there's a tendency to believe that manga was somehow this isolated phenomenon, but that like guys like Otomo and Katsu, I'm blanking on the name. Appleseed. What?
Shiro Masumino.
Shiro, excuse me, Shiro. They freely admit that they were Philip K. Dick fans, that they were 2001 fans, that they were watching Blade Runner, and those films were making a difference. And in turn, guys like William Gibson were writing about Chiba City.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even small things that like manga fans kind of have adopted more these days. Like the what I always bring up is I hate sound effects still in Japanese.
Oh, I love Japanese sound effects.
Well, it's
I do.
Since I mean, because graphically they look really great, but if you couldn't tell what they were trying to express, then you just didn't know. Like, is that a car rumbling or is that a machine gun going off? You know, and a lot of those early ones they actually had translated sound effects to go with the translated bubbles. So you always knew that, like I said, is that a car rooming off or is that a machine gun or a foot tap or whatever,
He-Man. Fuck.
He-Man.
Well, that kind of brings me to this whole thing, Billy. So tell me, how did you get even into comics? Like, how did you get started saying, I want to do this for a living?
Oh, well, I thought I wanted to do video games first.
Okay, so it was a video game bug first?
It went from I want to go into animation, like in early, like before I went to college and stuff like that, and then went to college and realized how freaking hard animation was. And I was like, maybe I'll just be a graphic designer, And then that's what I actually studied was graphic design, and then later being like, well, my love has always really been like halfway in between doing video games or graphic design. So I wanted to squeeze those two things together. And it wasn't until like I didn't even really consider, because I've never been and I really give it up to like comic book artists. Like I think sequential storytelling is like one of the hardest skills like in artistry to like have, because like you literally you're the costume designer, you're the you're the lead cinematographer, you're the dialogue coach, that you're really having to wear so many freaking hats that I was just like, I'm not good at any of those things. Like so I didn't really consider comic books for a really long time. And it wasn't until like this kind of resurgence of kind of indie over here that they're like, and I tried to, because like I saw stuff that like Eric Canetti was doing and stuff, and I was like, maybe being a concept artist and a designer would be able to like fit within the comic book sphere too. And I never really found that, but then by looking for that is when I started finding other things that I could do where I could help in the process, i.e. like doing graphics for logos, doing, page layout stuff for like the pre-press of the books, doing doing lettering, not lettering per se, but I already said logos, and then and then ultimately coloring, because like I was pretty good at rendering and being able to convey lighting moods and stuff that that just ended up being what worked out for me.
Well, I have a question about that, Billy, because the stuff I've seen, you are indeed what you say. You're like you're a designer, a logo designer. You're a assets designer.
Yeah.
But you're a copy designer. But my question is, what was in the beginning? Like, what made little Billy decide to go, I'm going to do this crazy thing for a living? Like, why? Like, where were you?
Just art in general?
Yeah, man. Where were you?
Nintendo, man. Like,
okay.
Nice.
And I always like, and this is what I drew, and this is when I knew like where what I wanted to do wasn't necessarily animation or storytelling. Is when I look back to like a lot of my earliest stuff, even when I was copying comic books. And in fact, I even had an interaction with Jason just the other day about this. Was I loved creating like all the little fucking doodads and like bullshit that would go along with the story, but weren't necessarily like the storytelling. So like a lot of my really early art from when I was like literally like single digit and beginning of the double digit was like, looking at the instruction booklet for Legend of Zelda.
Right.
And then
if it had it, when you rented
it. Yeah. Creating more stuff for that was where I ended up being like, oh yeah, this is what I like to do. I want to draw 20 different swords that don't really exist in the game.
Did you have those skills, or did you? So, what was your initial skill? Were you drawing, or were you actually rendering on a old computer?
No, I was just drawing. Just like I drew a lot. Again, like I drew a lot of stuff from like Metroid that didn't exist because like like old school games, they didn't just give it all to you. A lot of it due to technical constraints was just you kind of got what you got.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But no, so I love drawing like because Samus Aran from Metroid was supposed to be a space pirate. And so I was just like, where are the rest of the fucking space pirates at? So I was like drawing different gun arms and different other space pirates that would have been in her field,
Nice.
Other ships, the different planets and aliens that she went to. And like, that's when I got older. I'm like, oh, I've always been more of like a designer that draws, I like,
I see.
And I tell people this, I'm like, and it sounds kind of weird, but like, I find so much more enjoyment figuring out, and this is the kind of example I give a lot. I'm like drawing 20 backpacks for a character that already exists than trying to figure out the story of like that character or something like that,
So you were really into, for example, I could see you being at like a Toys R Us and being really attracted to the packaging of G.I. Joe and saying that's some beautiful graphics.
100%. 100%. Like
and wanted to keep that. Did you keep that stuff when you opened it?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah,
like kept the cards.
Yeah, all the cards. I mean, and I didn't keep the whole boxes, but I would cut out the pictures that I liked off of the boxes and stuff. And like, and remember, like they stopped doing it after a while, but the actual some of the vehicles came with like blueprints and stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and oh man,
and one moment. Hello, Crenshaw FAO. I haven't seen you in here. Welcome. He wants to ask, is that a Dolph Lundgren He-Man?
Yes, it is.
And that's what you're getting, Wolfbane or Hockey. We still don't know. Wolfbane, if you're in the chat, make sure you say something. Otherwise, it's going to the runner-up that requested the same thing. And please do hit that like if you guys would be so inclined. So Billy, you were okay. It seemed like you were more into the presentation of things than you
well,
were
I
like
said,
wanting to draw a comic book. You wanted to draw a presentation, the gift wrapping.
Well, I mean, the gift wrapping, and like I said, I know it wasn't really a thing in comic books, but I thought it could be for a while because I would see other comic book artists, and I'm just like, are these like broken into two different teams in the same way that they are in like movies and TV? I'm like, is there a person that literally creates like all the costumes and supportive stuff for a comic book that's different than the person that's the interior artist? Because to me they seemed like two different skill sets. I mean, I think, and I still believe that in a lot of ways they are. Like, I stand by, it's just like the person that you want to draw the inside of a comic isn't always the person that you want to design your characters. Because they're like,
remember when you had that epiphany of like thinking that there's multiple people working on these things?
I thought, I mean, and it is like, there were a lot of people that created characters that didn't necessarily draw the inside, because there are a lot of people that's what they're just good at, is just like designing the characters. But like when it comes to like drawing a sequential story, I mean, there's people that can do both too. I mean, like Jason right here, like he's good at both of those things, but a lot of people are only really good at one,
So what was the actual toy that you saw that started this germ in your brain?
Probably G.I. Joe's, just because I liked the G.I. Joe comic book, but I knew that the person that was creating like all the figures wasn't necessarily, I mean, I knew that Larry Hama wasn't really the guy that was like designing Snake Eyes and like designing, Beachhead and Cop and Croc Master and shit like that.
Right.
They were different people. And the same thing with video games. Like I knew that like the people that were designing Link and all the enemies and stuff were character and enemy designers, and they weren't really the ones that were presenting me the story of the game. It was two different people with two different kind of skill sets,
Mm-hmm. And were your parents cool with this? Was this an artistic household you in? Like where did it is there a milieu here that you're coming from, or is it just you as a weird kid?
My mom was a collegiate level art teacher.
Really?
Yes. And what's funny is she kind of had kids when she was young. So my mom was actually going to college when I was a kid. And I would play hooky from school intentionally so that my mom had to bring me to school with her. So like I got to like spend time when I was like 6 and 7 years old. I got to like spend time like at a professional like light table, like in a graphic arts department. I got to like see like a dark room and stuff to see like how plates were shot for.
I see. So it started even earlier than the toys.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, around this, I mean, same relative time,
Yeah, but now I'm getting a fuller picture of where it would come from, where you'd be attracted to this, as opposed to just seeing a figure and go, "Oh, I like that. It looks cool." You were applying the skills and the trades you were seeing your mother teach and seeing them broken down.
We'll learn
it, applying it.
She didn't become she didn't start teaching college till like I was actually older, So when I was a kid, she was still in her learning phase,
Mm-hmm. Moromi, welcome, sir. Nice to have you, my friend. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate it. Okay, so is that something you were trying to like? When did it go from a hobby to a hey, I'm gonna make a go at this? And did you make a go at comics? Like, what did you get into first? What was your first professional dollar, so to speak?
In high school, like I started trying to get art jobs and stuff. Like some people may know this that live in California or at least visited. Like I got a job at Great America Theme Park as an airbrush artist. Just airbrushing T-shirts and stuff like that. And then senior year of high school, I actually ended up landing a job because it was super close to my house. I got a job at Capcom in their sales department.
Really? Where were they located?
Santa Clara, California.
So were they doing any designing there? Or it was just
they were doing some of their designing there, like Final Fight and Final Fight Streetwise were created in California at that office. Like I got to meet like the founder of Capcom and his son several times.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a cool, like, so that's like your first office job doing video games.
Right. And since I was in the sales department, I got to like work on cool like handmade painted signs and stuff that ended up being used as like point of sale stuff that would like go inside like a electronic boutique or like something like that.
Yeah.
Like I got to do a airbrushed Ghost and Goblin sign that ended up going into an electronic boutique and stuff like
Electronics
that.
boutique, dude. Remember they're the competitor of Software Etc. Remember Software Etc.
Yeah. Well, and Capcom had their own. It was only in a couple places, but they actually had their own retail store too. That I ended up creating like marketing stuff for. It was called G&G Software, and it was called G&G because it stood for Ghost and Goblin Software.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Tokume, Billy. Oh, right on. Was it Paramount's or Marriott's that you worked at?
When I first started working at it, it was Marriott's, and then we were bought by Paramount while I was working there.
So so why didn't you stay at Capcom and try to just work your way through Capcom?
Because it was in sales and still like, I mean, even though there was a couple, there was a small limited bit of jobs there in the early 90s when I was in high school still. I knew that like the majority of games were being developed like in Japan, so I didn't necessarily see the future necessarily there for me,
Or were there no upward mobility? There was no crossover from sales to, say, development or design?
Not really. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So it was very stratified in terms of the departments.
Totally. Okay. And I came from a really poor family. So
how did that affect anything there? And before you answer, all this on the farm, just off Orwell Lane. Good evening, sir. Thank you for coming. We're doing He-Man. You missed the spin. It's either Hockey or Wolfsbane. And if Wolfsbane's here, we're still calling for you, buddy, to come claim your piece. And you better look at the thing. Anyways, Billy, so what you just mentioned, I come from a poor family. How does that correlate to Capcom?
Well, not staying with Capcom is because if I wanted to go to college, I knew that like my family wasn't going to be able to help me like at all. If I wanted to actually learn from professionals and go to a good art school, I knew that my family wasn't going to be able to support me in that endeavor. And back then, because video games, they hired programmers, and a lot of programmers ended up being the artists on a lot of the games that like we know and love. They had to kind of hire somebody that could also program and do double duty as like a old school sprite designer or something like that. I knew that I wanted to learn both computing and art.
So now we're jumping from analog to digital now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew that I wanted to learn computers and art at the same time, like either major, minor in one, and then have both skills so I could.
But what I'm asking, Billy, so this is where you decided, like, okay, if I'm being at Capcom to do this stuff, I have to be multi-skilled,
right?
And I've got to learn digital stuff,
right?
Because you probably saw that's where it was going, working at Capcom, right?
Yeah.
And you say, okay, and so you made your decision there, but you couldn't go to school and work at Capcom,
right? Yeah, and so that's I joined the military to try to get the money that I needed in order to pursue those endeavors. And I knew that at least like the computer part of it, like the basis of it, I could get through the military because.
And we're in 91 now, right? Because you were in Gulf War I.
Yep. Yep. And the internet had just basically been invented like at that point,
Right.
And so I knew that like the emerging jobs that were in the military would at least give me a foundational understanding of programming. So like the Marine Corps sent me to computer science school in Quantico, Virginia, that both the Marine Corps, the Army, and the FBI were training at the time.
Nice.
And a quick question Hockey has for you, Billy. Have you started drawing yet?
Yeah.
And can we see it? Are you presenting?
Yeah, this is just my breakdown. I'm going to put a piece of paper over mine.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm claiming too. This is my breakdown.
It's a breakdown.
Am I able to see it, Billy? Or
yeah,
let me get you.
No.
I'm still learning. I'm still boomering.
It's okay. Boomer it.
How do I switch to Billy?
Yeah.
There is no Billy, only Zool.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Found it. There we go. So there's Billy going.
Yeah.
He's doing. See Hockey.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Always doubting our boy Billy.
Yeah.
Don't doubt him. He'll do it.
I'm doing it.
You could do it. You can do it. You can. You can.
All right. So, okay, this is cool because I actually didn't know this about you, Billy. That I knew you were in the military, but I didn't have a connective tissue. So, your entry into the military was directly subordinate to your desire to go to art school.
Yep. 100%.
Okay. All right. So you go in there and you got a technical gig in the military.
And that was the other reason why, because a lot of people they give you, depending on your job in the military, they actually they give you a choice of like where you want to go. And since I was in a very highly technical field in the military, I got the option of, they're like, hey, do you want to stay stateside or would you rather go to a foreign country like say Japan? And there again is the link. I was just like,
there it is.
I'm like, I can go to Japan,
but that goes back to your Capcom days where you're like, I got to get to Japan.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool. So you're feeling it, right? You're like, things are lining up for me.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, and again, like back then, kind of like in the Wild West of like early game dev days, like having artistic skill, computer technical skill, and then knowing the language, like of being able to speak some Japanese so that you can work within a Japanese team. Those are all like super kind of sought after things that could help you land a spot in the industry easier.
And also being in technical skills in the military, I think you're ultra hireable to begin with, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right off the bat.
Yep.
Okay. And also, Crager, did you change your layout because you don't want people to see what you're drawing?
No, I changed my layout because I have to lightbox my sketch real quick. So, and I don't have my other lightbox set up. You'd see Moo, my cat.
No.
You can pop back to me real quick, buddy. See Moo?
Oh,
it's getting big. It's bigging him with his mustache.
It's Moosif with his little fuck you face.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah. His name's Moo.
If there's any veterans from the Frega chat, unfortunately, Lola, the extremely loud tripod cat, has passed on. So they used to, during Fractober, I don't know if you remember this, Billy, you would hear her screaming down the hallway, and everybody in the chat in Frega's in Fractober like, it's Lola.
Yeah,
but she has passed to the great beyond. So Billy, so you're in the military. You're like, cool. I'm getting a GI Bill. Yep. They're sending me to Japan. It's all lining up. What happens next?
I get back and I like become a burnout.
What? Why? What? It seemed like you had a straight shot. What was going on, Billy? What are you doing here?
Well, I fell in love over in Japan.
I mean, yeah.
I could. No.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, and was engaged
I don't actually know how charged it is.
To a Japanese national. And
to be completely honest,
and that just didn't work out. And she was actually gonna have my baby.
No, sorry, go ahead.
They can hear you.
And she decided to have an abortion.
Oh, Okay.
And that sent me just on and because my dad was a Hell's Angel and was murdered when I was a kid. And so I always had, that was another, I mean, besides art, that was actually another really big lifelong goal of mine is I wanted to be a dad. So I was.
So your dad was gone out of the picture early.
Yep. So.
And it was just you and your mom and your siblings?
Yep. Yep.
And your mom was a breadwinner the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And so I was very disillusioned from that experience with the you know, basically like my first official, you know, I was like 18 or 19, basically the first love of my life, you know.
So that derailed you. So essentially, if you had married this woman and she'd had your child, you would have probably stayed in Japan.
Yeah, I
learned the language.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And worked.
I could
tried to work in Japan.
For sure, yeah. 100%.
Okay, so a personal situation derailed everything, which was this tragedy.
Yep.
Of losing your first child.
Yes.
And so did you stay in the military or that?
I stayed in for another
home.
I stayed in for another 2 years just to finish out my obligations, and then like went home and got like a really crappy tech job, like in the networking sphere, like literally like, you know, like networks. I worked at a place called 3Com, and that designed network cards, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is like, oh man, I hate being in a cubicle for 10 hours a day.
Yeah, but you're also doing a gig that has nothing to do with what you want to do now.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, well, I mean, always knew that like if I like, because there was so much money in the 90s in computing that I was like, well, this is where I'm gonna go to like make some cash, you know.
Was it good?
It was good, really good money, but just soul busting work. Yeah, I hated it.
But what in particular, man? Like what? Like because we all had that job, right? Where you can't get out of bed because you hate the job so much. Like every day you leave is the best day of your life, like an Office Space. Remember, he's like, is today the worst day of your life? Yeah, that's messed up.
Okay, so
you know, like
yeah, so I scored really high on the aptitude tests when I was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And so, like, what I ended up doing is I was a cryptologist. I started writing code for encrypting satellite messages. And like, I had a top secret security clearance, and so I was really good at the math portion of figuring out ways to write code for message encryption. And so when I went into the private sector, that's kind of like what they had me. What the hell is happening here? That's what they had me doing, and I just hated writing code all day. Like just literally, and like really heavy math code that was just so mentally taxing that I was just like, oh God, this is terrible. I hate this so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I left that job and then tried to get into the movie and TV industry as a concept artist. Like I had a couple interviews at ILM and had a couple interviews at different. I tried to get on as a costume concept artist for that movie, The Rock.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Because they were filming it in the Bay Area, like really close to where I was at. You know, like.
And what'd you do to how come you didn't get on that? Like, how'd you go about that?
They were probably just better. I just, I was networking with other artists in San Francisco at the time, and and like I had heard about like, oh, dude, like I know these people that are movie carpenters, and they're filming this movie, and ILM's got like open interviews for like costume designers and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll go, and I probably just didn't get the job because there were people better than me. That's what I attribute it to.
Okay. So it seems like you're kind of in a holding pattern. You're sort of stagnating a little bit.
Right. And what's kind of funny is and also the rave scene was huge back then. It's kind of funny and very dates me to say, but like raves were enormous, you know? Like I mean like as big as any concert that you would go to, you know? So what I ended up doing for a while was DJing and creating a lot of like the flyers and promotional stuff for raves. So that's how I ended up filling that artistic bit for a while.
Void.
Yeah.
Were you getting paid to do that?
Oh yeah. They picked because I mean nobody knew how to use Photoshop back then.
True.
So I could literally like open up an issue of New Type. You know, for those people that may not be familiar, it's a Japanese like magazine that would show like Japanese models and toys and stuff like that. It came out every month.
Yeah.
And I could literally go into New Type, scan some pages of some cool Japanese toys, and then arrange them on a page with a bunch of cool text of like where some rave was like happening, and people were like, oh my god, this looks amazing. Like, you know, I'm just like, well, I didn't design that Gundam. I just designed like the flyer that's surrounding it.
Well, Tokame, I know Tokame is up from that area too, and he said, yeah, raves in the East Bay were fucking massive back in the day. When I ran Thrashing Dragon and Concord, we were constantly competing with raves.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. And then it was one of the last art jobs I had before I moved to where I was at now. Like I was dating a girl whose family was a whole family of graphic artists for textbooks.
Wow.
Like technical textbooks for like aviation and stuff like that.
Fun.
And their daughter was trying to start a graphic arts house outside of Palo Alto, and they had Sega as a client. And so like that's where I finally got my first character design job, was for a game that never happened. It was kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons Bard's Tale style video game that was going to be for Sega.net. And I got to design a bunch of characters for that, and that was really cool.
Okay, so is that your first real video game gig?
That was my first real video game gig. Yeah. That was my first one.
And so we're talking mid-90s now.
Yeah, mid to late night. It was like 96, 97, yeah.
Right. Okay, so the internet's becoming a thing. They're getting their websites going.
Yep.
Web designers are making $30 an hour.
Yeah, online's becoming a thing and stuff like that.
And $1997.
$1997, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And before we continue, let me see if everybody's caught up in the chat. I've got a bunch of people saying, good, giving their condolences for the tripod kitty. That was Lola.
Yeah.
Yeah, we remember Lola. She was a good girl. She was the $1 million cat, and I'll just leave it at that in terms of her vet bills.
Wow.
Metal Movies and Brewskis, and it's probably a little while ago. He said my uncle was almost a Hell's Angel. Mr. Martinez says this is so good that I would love the pencils alone. Excellent, Mr. Crager.
Thanks. Thanks, buddy.
Tokame, I think he was saying this in response to you talking about your cryptography. I don't know what this is. ASVAB. He mentioned that right around the time you were talking about the cryptography.
Okay.
And then Metal Movies and Brewskis concurred because you were talking about quitting that job that was mind-numbingly horrible, and that shit would drive Luke nuts, according to his chat.
Yeah.
And then, and they love The Rock, or Metal Movie and Brewskis love The Rock, Con Air, all that Bruckheimer stuff in the 90s I love Con Air, man. I think it's a great film.
Well, and because what's funny is I was so disappointed that I didn't get any kind of job on that particular project that I never ended up watching the movie until last year.
Oh, that's so good.
It was a really good movie. Like when I finally saw it, I was like, I guess I should finally watch this. Like I haven't been bitter for like 2 decades about it. Like I've been over it for a while.
Sure. It wasn't
The Rock, you mean? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, The Rock, yeah.
The Rock is a great film.
Well, I purposely
Fantastic
didn't watch it because I was so pissed that I didn't get a job on it, And like a couple of people that I knew did get jobs on it. I mean, not in the artistic field. Like I knew like literally like a set designer, like carpenter that ended up doing a bunch of work on The Rock. And I was like, man, fuck that movie. Like, I'm not going to watch that shit.
Like they left me out. You know, I don't want to look at people's good time. And I'll say this, and it's probably going to be controversial in terms of Bay's catalog. I think The Rock and The Islander are his two best films.
Right on.
Probably people would say Transformers or something, but I don't know. I think I love those two films.
No, The Island.
Yeah,
that was a decent movie. I like that movie.
Jason says Billy went full Triton.
Yep, full Triton.
And then we got Jason wants to remind us how old he is. He graduated in 97. Hey man, I graduated in 2001, so we're not that far apart.
Yep.
And Luke said $30 an hour and $97 means $75 an hour now. That is depressing.
Yeah. I graduated in 92.
Oh,
wow, me too.
Yeah,
me too, buddy.
That's and that's why it's like there's that link to me like going right over to Desert Storm because like that's right.
That's right.
Happening.
That's right. When that fucking shit happened.
Seth corrected me. He said, ASVAB is a military test of determined aptitude, armed service vocational aptitude battery. Okay, thank you, Seth. Appreciate that.
That's the acronym he was talking about. Yeah, my ASVAB test. Yeah, totally.
And I am very correct according to Luke. The Bay formers suck. You are right because Bay. I'll say this about Bay. He's a worthy successor to Tony Scott. He just did it in on meth, essentially. He just took what Tony Scott did in the 80s and methed it up, in terms of intensity. But I think he's full of dad jokes. Put it that way. He likes his dad jokes.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? That Bay humor that you could tell he's probably giggling his ass off, but you're like, it's not funny, dude. It's really on the nose.
Just not funny.
And I remember it was so bad that Frege thought he was racist because of the way he would portray black people in his movies. And I'm like, no, Frege, he's just stupid. That's all. He's not racist. He's just stupid.
He's just stupid. Yeah.
That's all. He's like, because it is. He was always on the nose with all of his jokes. And they really, like I said, they're funny to him, but everybody else is like, Bay, not that funny.
Okay.
But Seth says, but it is so funny because that's how it is.
Let's turn this off and stop blinding you people.
And that is a good line, Marco. How in the name of Zeus's butthole did you get out of your cell?
I don't know.
It's that scene in The Rock where they get caught in the third act and they're both in cells stacked on each other, and Sean Connery's busy working on how he's going to get out, and Nick Cage is being Nick Cage and doing his, and he's like running down all of his superhuman feats, and he's like, you did all that stuff, but you can't get out of your cell, and then he does it, and they move on. Trade secrets, my son. From X, John Livesay says, hello. Welcome, John. Thank you for joining us. It's the first time I've seen you. Appreciate it, buddy.
John.
I think we're caught up. So you melted your brain and you're doing gig posters. And then we are off to where? Do you ever land yourself in a steady job, like doing this stuff, or are you bouncing around constantly?
Pretty much bouncing. Well, kind of like basically. So then after I realized that I didn't want to, I realized there was little future in selling ecstasy and being a DJ.
when in doubt, sell your wares.
Yeah, that
right.
And I still really wanted to follow my art career. Again, I was dating a girl that was just like, hey, if you want to stay with me, first of all, she said you got to stop selling drugs. So I was like, okay.
So she gave you the you want to be with me, got to have a job.
Totally. And then the other thing she said is I'm moving to San Luis Obispo to go to college. And I was like, I'm not moving to St. Louis. And she's like, no, not St. Louis, San Luis Obispo. like, which was I'm like, I don't know where that is. She's like, it's like 3 hours south, and like, and
Yep.
I checked out the school, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually a really good school, and it's a technical school.
Right.
So I kind of like kicked ass and created a portfolio to see if I could get in their art department there, and ended up following that beautiful young woman off to San Luis Obispo, and I'm going to university there because I still had like my ability to draw on the military funds that I had from to go to school and stuff.
Right.
I was like, yeah, that'll be the school that I go to, and so went to that school and made a lot of really great friends and connections, and ended up.
I'm sorry, Billy. I have to interrupt you because it's too funny. That's where Jake says that's where Trent kind of knew that groomed him.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, I had been what's funny, the Hall of Heroes thingy, like I first saw the Hall of Heroes comics when I was in the military, and because we had an on-base comic book shop, and I was just like, how is this 16-year-old like pulling this off? This is crazy, you know. And then like by the time I had gotten to San Luis, he had worked at Capcom at that point, because I had heard of him from people that I still knew that worked there. And he went on to work at Blizzard, and I just saw the stuff that he was putting out, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, this is like this guy basically draws exactly like how I want to draw.
Right.
And this at Blizzard, is this around the
Early 2000s.
Warcraft 2?
Early 2000s.
Okay, so we're in Warcraft 3 era and Diablo 2 era.
Yes. Yep.
When Blizzard is like can do no wrong.
Right. Back when they were
actually, we know that's not the case now, but back before some of the kiddies were born, Blizzard could do no wrong, and it seemed like they were unstoppable.
Dude, they I mean, there was the classic Blizzard thing. It's just like, well, when's this game coming out? When Blizzard says it's done,
and when it's done, it's the best thing ever made.
Right. Yeah.
But even Athens had their classical times, right? And then it ended.
Yep. And then so I ended up getting kind of recruited out of school by other fellow classmates.
Okay, as typically happens.
Yeah, and I went back into basically like music again. And tech. Basically, it's like there was one of my friends that was going to school there wanted to start a music promotion business. So he needed someone that was an artist that could create cool venue posters, while at the same time helping him run the technical side of his website back then to like sell tickets and stuff like that. So so I dropped out of school and took that job.
Okay, so you didn't finish art school then?
I didn't finish, no.
Okay.
And then got to like go on tour with bands as like a onstage live performance painter like a couple times, and do it like I got to perform like at the legendary Fillmore in San Francisco, like up on stage, like doing live performance paintings and stuff.
You're consistently making money. You're just not in any in any job for any length of time. It seems like you're consistently making money.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's the problem you're having with this. Are you still with this woman at this period when you're touring?
Yes.
So is she fine with this, man? Is she like, okay, you're making money, or is she like, I want you in one place making money?
No. She knew I was always going to come home, and like that was all good. You know, like she was totally fine with that, and I was a very loyal man. So like she wasn't like. There was no concerns at all. But what ended up being the concern was she was studying to be a doctor. And at one point, that school wasn't going to be enough for her because she needed to travel on to get her PhD.
Right.
And I had made so many roots at that point that I didn't want to go anywhere.
Right.
And now are you finally in Morro Bay?
Yeah, this is because Morro Bay is like right next to San Luis Obispo, where that college is. It's like
Right.
12 miles away. It's super
Where you are
far.
now.
Yeah, it's where I am now.
And I want to add from Tokume, a couple people here talking about our discussion on Blizzard. After Trent Groomdune, where he got to the to the Blizzard, Death Metal Hero said on Base Comic Shop, really, that's pretty effing rad.
Yeah.
Tokumu says in regards to Blizzard doing no wrong until Ghost was made, then it all went to shit. I would have loved to see that game. That was a cool concept because there wasn't a stealth genre yet when they were working on that game. If you remember, it was a ghost agent, the ones that mark the targets in StarCraft.
Yeah,
where the nuke drops.
Right. Yeah, it was gonna be their answer to Metal Gear Solid and what do you call it, Splinter Cell and stuff, but with the
But this was before Splinter Cell. It was before that was a thing. The stealth genre.
Yep.
Luke, you were correct. Back before Blizzard firmly lodged its head up its own ass. No, there's nobody that made Blizzard what it was still there anymore. There's nobody that made Blizzard what it was still there anymore. Excuse me, Tokume. He was talking to Tokume.
Arguably one of the last people that was old school Blizzard just left last September.
Samwise were gone, aren't they?
Yes, Samwise was one of the original artists that worked there, and he started when he was 17 years old. Worked there for 30 years.
Yeah, I love his. Is he the one who did all the art in the the Warcraft 2 book?
Yep.
And I just love that art.
Yeah. No, and he just started putting out YouTube videos now and stuff. It's great. It's kind of neat to see him after all these years kind of go back from making his way up to Blizzard to, and he even says that he didn't really draw anymore, to now being just an artist again is just.
It's funny that we're back to kind of packaging, because what I loved about computer games in the 90s was they were large format. There were these big boxes inside. I think what Blizzard really innovated is when you pulled out the book, it had the instruction manual, but it also had a background book, on the world. And it also had this beautiful artwork that complemented it. Remember the Diablo, and it was Diablo had it, StarCraft had it, Warcraft 2 had it, and it felt like a real collector's item inside this box. And and I don't know, the copy on Blizzard's old stuff was just bar none.
Yeah.
Luke says Blizzard has been a hollow shell for a long time. You can't be a part of Activision without losing your soul.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So do I really have to ink this thing? I mean,
yes, you do.
It's coming out really nice, and I'm gonna fuck it up if I ink it at this point.
Yeah, but you're not completed unless you ink it.
It's so pretty, though.
Wolfsbane, are you here, buddy? Remember, make yourself known, dude. If you want this, otherwise the Australian, that dirty, greasy Australian, is gonna snatch it from you.
He's absolutely gonna steal it from you.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Hockey's saying it don't need inks, but it's not yours yet until the fat lady sings. Hockey.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. It totally is not yet. I can't believe I have to ink this thing.
And I think most of the audience wants to see it inked. And we've just gotten to Morro Bay. So you're Morro Bay. Why are you still there?
So I had just gotten a job with Oddworld Inhabitants, and it was my second concept art job in the video game industry, because Oddworld Inhabitants is right here in San Luis Obispo. They made it a game some people may know of, Oddworld. And
you work with the Shiflett brothers. They did some sculptures for that. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And Lauren Lanning and his partner, and so I got that job right as that girl that I was there with was getting ready to move on to her next endeavor in life. And I call myself a serial monogamist, because as soon as I broke up with her and she left, and especially since it wasn't a bad breakup, it was just where our lives are going two different ways. I think I want to go this way. She says, okay, I think I want to go this way. I immediately shacked up with another female.
So you kind of rebounded into another relationship
Yeah, totally.
in Morro Bay.
In Morro Bay, basically the only black girl that was in Morro Bay.
Oh, you found her.
I
Nice.
found her. I think it was one of two. There was like two black girls because she even said she's like, I only had one black friend like all grown up. So yeah, I met one of the two black girls in Morro Bay.
You were the original Sergeant Swirler.
Yeah, and then within a year married her and was like getting ready to have kids.
Nice.
By the way, you guys are right on this evening. Tokumi says, dude, that sounds like a video game quest. Achievement unlocked. Only black girl in Morro Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a GTA like 6 thing that's gonna happen.
And Death Metal Hero or Luke says Billy was looking for that chocolate.
Yeah.
Indeed he was. That's what I mean. He was Sergeant Swirler, dude.
Oh, dude. And so yeah, within just a year of meeting her, like we were already like family planning and stuff. And my associate position at Oddworld wasn't going to cut it for being a breadwinner in the family. It was just it wasn't enough. So that's when I went into television again. I worked at a news station for like 10 years after that.
Okay, so that's your finally like your 9 to 5 punch clock. I'm here for good job.
Yep.
And you're probably in your mid 30s or what?
Dude, I remember I was.
Aren't you like 65 years old?
No, I was. Remember, I graduated in '92. So
no, I'm just
he's 50.
Oh, I'm gonna be 50 here in June. I think I'm gonna be 50.
So you're probably you're like mid to late 20s when this happens. What? Let's go. When is it?
When I got the TV job.
Yeah,
I was in my late 20s. I was like 28 or 29 or something like that.
So you had quite a life, man. Up to that point, you did some living.
Yeah,
you came from crap and kind of pulled yourself out of it. Decided what you wanted early on. Jumped into the military to achieve it. After that stint at Capcom. That kind of showed you the path you had to take. Ended up in Japan. Unfortunately, there's a tragedy there with your first love. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Bounced back to the United States and got another love, and then you found the only black girl who exists in Morro Bay, and now you're working at the TV station.
Yeah. And again, doing not very creative work, but at least it was still semi. Like when I say semi-artistic, it was very arguably not artistic, but it was like I was at least using the computer and like creating images and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're Jason.
Jason.
Adjacent, to what you want to do.
Adjacent.
Not adjacent, not a BACSKO. I'm not going to assault you like that.
Well, no, I mean, I'm like a Crager. Like, what was he do? Yeah, I created, graphics that went on TV for network news. It was really kind of boring, but I mean, like I said, it paid really well, and it.
Right. Nice. That's good stuff, man. So.
Yeah. And then I stayed at that job almost until like my daughter was ready to move out of the house.
So you actually had a family with this person.
Yeah.
So this was the one.
Well, we got divorced after a little while.
Right, but she had the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But and we got divorced after a little while, and that didn't work out. But because I never wanted to be an away dad, like I was never going to be a weekend away dad. Like
absentee dad.
That was never that wasn't even an option for me to choose. Be like, okay, well, I'll just move back to the San Francisco Bay Area where I know I can make way more money and keep pursuing artistic endeavors versus not being able to be around my kiddo was just not an option, not at all. So that's why I ended up staying here in Morro Bay for as long as I did, was because I wanted to be close to my kiddo.
Yeah, you got to enjoy that shark.
I would do the same thing.
Enjoy that show.
I am doing the same thing.
Yeah. So, and then, and right around the time she was getting ready to graduate high school and move out of the house, and we're like moving up closer to the present now. That's when, it's weird to think the pandemic happened 4 years ago.
Right.
The pandemic happened, and then that changed everything again. Like
yeah,
that.
Then I had to run into you, and my life has not been the same.
Well, it changed so much for like, I don't know if a lot of people realize like how much it changed the landscape for a lot of us artists that weren't necessarily in the best place geographically to do art.
Right.
Because in Morro Bay, there was no art. I mean, that's why I worked at a TV station. Because it's like I was either going to be a graphic artist at like a newspaper or a TV station, or Oddworld had packed up their place, so there was no like software design stuff like happening down here. It was like I was always going to get like some art. Yeah, there was always some other art job that was not really what I was wanted to do, but like that was going to be the only thing geographically available here. And when the pandemic hit and everybody went to work at home, and like jobs for work remote then like became a thing, that's when it like just opened back up for me, and it all kind of happened like serendipitous at the perfect time, because it was like my kiddo wasn't at home, so I didn't necessarily have to make as much money,
right?
And now I can actually apply for a job at a company that I would have wanted to be at, but I don't have to be there anymore. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I do.
And then, so I started hunting like all over the place for like, remote work for an artist and stuff. And then met cats like Will and stuff like that. And I was like, wait, I can get that job in either the video game or comic book industry now. And I don't have to be in LA.
Nope.
Or I don't have to be in San Francisco. That
was a special time, Billy, because when this whole thing popped off and I got into this with Frega, it was like a giant nationwide slumber party.
Yeah.
We were all on the internet because we had nothing better to do, and we're just like on each other's streams, and we were just like meeting people, and it was like okay to have fun and be home. It felt like a big block party.
Yeah.
Right.
Like in the beginning. You know what I mean? Had that atmosphere because everyone was streaming all day long.
Well, and I was streaming all day long, and it broke down a lot of barriers since everybody was kind of like terminally online. Then it broke down a lot of barriers. I got to meet a bunch of artists that were basically my artist heroes online for the first time, because I was just like, I think I'm going to message this person, just see what they say to me.
Right.
That's when I met Trent Kanuga. And like he's like, oh, you're that guy that's been writing me fan letter for like the last 20 years. I'm like,
you're the guy that I'm afraid of.
I'm like, that's me, man.
I'm your number one fan.
I'm like, I've been taking your online, concept art like workshops for like the last decade. That's me, man. Like it's
like you're my only subscriber. Of course I know it's you.
I mean, pretty much.
Oh my god! Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was a neat time, like
That's
amazing. That's why it's like when people were like talking about, they're like, oh man, this pandemic is so horrible. I'm like, no. I don't think so. This is kind of rocking, like as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, the world slowed down to my speed during that time. And it made it possible to make things happen. Yeah. It was cool.
Just opened up opportunities that weren't there. Because like companies, I mean, like, Jason, like companies didn't hire artists to work remote.
Nope.
Or anybody for that matter.
It wasn't a thing, like ever. Nope. Like it was never, ever a thing.
Nope. It's about who you knew and having the perfect portfolio for what they want to see, and like it was a turkey shoot at best in some cases, and you basically had to pimp yourself like crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas, once you hopped online during the pandemic, I literally had people begging me to do artwork because, good art sells. So it was really cool.
It was really cool. Like it was great. And, it's like, again, like jobs that I would have never had the opportunity to have. All of a sudden, we're open now. You know, like, I mean, again, because like how I wanted to kind of go into like, you know, for a while I was just like, well, I like package design, but like I'm never going to get a job at Hasbro because I don't live in the right place.
Right.
You know, I mean, not necessarily that I wanted Hasbro specifically, but like, you know, like toy manufacturers and their graphic arts departments are in certain parts of the country that I'm just not in. So it's like that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Fraga used to work at Hasbro
and Mattel, right?
And Mattel, yeah,
and Mattel.
You'd be surprised how much your kids like that he designed.
Yeah.
Well, like when I found out he did Monster High stuff, I'm like, I might spent so much shit on that for my daughter. Holy crap!
Yeah, all that whole line is his.
Yeah, mine too. So Fraga is responsible for my child's, childhood and what she loved because he designed all those dolls.
Yeah,
and did all that stuff and did all the music for it and did all that shit, man.
Yeah,
that stuff's insane. It's
so
good.
Let me catch up on some super chat. There's no money here, but your guys' presence is money. Let's see. I just find that funny. He said, "Dude, we need a Billy BACSKO RPG game." Yeah, man, his life is an adventure. It's a fetch quest. One giant fetch quest.
Pretty much, yeah.
Achievement unlocked, Sergeant Swirler. Mr. Martinez, the inks are coming out awesome. Metal Movies and Brewskis, that's a pretty cool way to spend your 20s. I worked at a grocery store. Hey, man, nothing wrong with working at a grocery store. You're providing a valuable service. Tokame, it's worth to be there for your kids regarding you staying in Morro Bay. They are far more important than any success. I highly agree, my friend. The bond you create with your kids is timeless. It's key to be that person for your kids and be the parent they need. And I'll say one thing today I'm grateful for is that I work from home and I can be with my daughter half the time at least. In regards to the block party, that's what Luke is saying. That's an accurate way to describe it. Yeah, man, it felt like we were all kind of, because we didn't have to leave the house. So we were all just signing on, seeing whose stream was active and just wandering into that saloon and talking to whoever was there and meeting guys like Billy and commiserating with like Plagle and whoever Plagle met. And we formed little bullpens for a minute.
Yeah. That's why I called the Discord that we're in the pit. Because I was just like, oh, this is the bullpen for the G.I. Joe in me, I'm like, we're gonna make the pit finally and like have the pit.
Hockey wants to know, or he said, "I'm your hero." Oh shucks, thanks, Billy. Luke, we all share that sentiment, but we're trying our best to replicate that for you guys. He misses the old Couch Doodles channel.
Yeah, we all do. So maybe Fraga will get back to that soon.
I'm going to nag him incessantly, and hopefully he will, but I will not let him stay away for very long. Seth,
if anything,
Tokame,
we'll get him on the show.
Excuse me. Oh, sorry. He'll be here. Trust me, guys. Yeah, he'll be here. The barrier within society fell the day we recognized we were but merely people living in the same society wearing different hats. Pre-2018, it was fucking rare, and this is Tokame again. You had to be in the right scenes and social circles. Remote work was about either being hardcore technical or being the only person of that industry.
Yeah, or like being some crazy like Russian painter that they like went to you specifically because like you were good at, like I'm thinking like the artists doing like Magic the Gathering like work and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you got to be like some world class like Polish fucking,
painter.
We kind of neglected that, Billy, in the 90s, where there was some great stuff coming out of all those card games like Rage, Vampire, Magic, Legend of the Five Rings. Remember that CCG Explosion?
Yeah.
And it was just a great. I mean, obviously the Star Wars card game cheated and they just took screenshots. But like Paul Bonner, when he was doing Doom Trooper and Mutant Chronicles, making these giant paintings that they were just carving out little pieces of for the cards.
It's insane.
I mean, some of these were quite beautiful art, especially the White Wolf stuff was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Metal Movies and Brewskis. My kids dig Monster High. Thank you, sir. I'm sure Frege would love to hear that if he were listening. Hopefully he is. And then Tokume says he's still technically licensed by them. If I remember correctly, certain IPs, he's the only person that handles them, and they own many of his art pieces. I think he's talking about Kanuga.
Oh yeah.
Or is he talking about Samwise?
Or Fraga or Samwise. I think a bunch of them. Yeah.
It might be Samwise because he was the guy who his stuff was just wrapped around every Blizzard project.
Every Blizzard project. I mean, he literally was. I mean, he created the world of Warcraft. Like.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like so much of the stuff that, like, from the maps to the characters to just everything, he was there right at it all when they were, less than 30 people, and he was like one of their main artists that they had. I mean, Chris Metzen, like one of their biggest creative designers they had, he got his job at Blizzard because they saw him drawing on a fucking napkin at a local bar.
And Metzen was the one that drew me to it.
Yeah, they're like, you should come down to Blizzard and get a job. And like, yeah, I mean, StarCraft and again, a lot of Warcraft is purely like it was all Metzen.
Or like Games Workshop, they had a wonderful art department at Games Workshop.
Oh, dude, and still do. God, it's
like Adrian Smith. I subscribe to his channel. I love watching him draw. Like he was my favorite of the Games Workshop. Him and John Blanche. Because he kind of had that. I don't know. It's hard to describe John Blanche's style. It's like a shitty style. It's hard to describe it, but it was cool.
Yeah.
Death Metal Hero or friend Luke says time marches on. I'm happy and excited for the show to grow. Thank you, my friend. Had the same feels. Glad you guys are doing it. Thank you, man. We always love the fact you guys are supporting.
We're working on it.
Seth says in regards to what Billy said about Russia, dude, seriously. And I worked as a technical lead for Konka Studios back in 2013. Their concept art was based in Russia and was pulling in $10K a print. It was nuts.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
She was talking about Frege when we were trying to figure out who he was talking about.
Okay.
He was talking about Frege. But yeah, a lot of well-known artists became locked down by a lot of companies and hit them with hard non-competes.
Yeah.
Is that true? Games Workshop is alas now owned by Asmodee, who bought out Fantasy Flight. So wait a minute, they bought out Games Workshop? I thought they were monster, man. Like they were a $1 billion company. At one point,
Fantasy Flight or
no, Games Workshop, like they were just a monster in the early aughts.
They still are. They just, I think, other money came in that they maybe they didn't growth past that period. But no, Games Workshop's huge now.
Jason says, I'm glad you guys didn't pick Tuesday night to do your show. We figured that no one else is doing Monday. Everyone doesn't want to deal with it. We figured we'd be the show to kind of open up the week, and why not?
Yeah.
Plus, we can have Rini as a regular if we do it on Monday.
That's true too. That's partially why, also, and not to step on too many people's toes. So.
And nobody's doing Monday. Why not? Why don't we just do Monday?
Right.
Everyone seems to prefer later in the week. So like Bancroft and Rini and all those people seem to prefer like later in the week.
Right. And that is fine. They should have their time and do their thing. Hopefully they'll do well.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully everybody can do well.
So Tokume is giving us some clarification. Games Workshop liquidated all their assets and product handling to Fantasy Flight. Really? The IP still exists, but it's handled by Asmodee, who owns nearly 605 of the I don't know what 605 of the gaming market. 60% of the gaming market. So, wow, I mean, that's nuts because those are some seriously expensive IPs, especially 40K.
Yeah, 40K is so huge.
The freaking Games Workshop is like the Prince, of gaming, dude. You post like a picture of them and they like slap you down with like, a copyright claim. They were going after. I remember on Facebook back then they would go after dudes with tattoos.
Well, I mean but they dropped the ball so many times because again, like StarCraft and Warcraft were supposed to be Warhammer games that they passed on.
I mean, they got a second shot at it with Total War.
So Blizzard, I mean, and that's why they had
Dawn of War, excuse me.
And that's why they had to change Space Marines to be called Adeptus Astartes, because like they weren't protecting their word of Space Marine.
I wondered why Blizzard got away with that.
Yep. And it was because, well, it's like, well, if you're not going to go after these people and they're going to use this, then like you can't actually claim that word as like being yours.
And you're right. They instead of when I was a kid, when the old Rogue Trader days of the Games Workshop, they just called them Space Marines. They didn't call them Astartes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So where are we at, gentlemen?
I'm working on it.
Oh. I think you picked the those damn pauldrons that have all the detail on them and the oh, there's Jolly Green. He popped back in. Where'd you go, buddy? He just came in, said what up, and then took off. Well, as you can see, Jolly Green, 2 people. Wolfsbane won the He-Man, but he's not here. So if he doesn't come by the end of the show and claim this, it goes to our friend Hockey Down Under.
Yeah.
Jolly Green says, "Are you doing 2 episodes on one day?" I don't follow. What you guys know something I don't?
No, I don't think so. Why are we doing 2 episodes?
I don't know. Maybe he thinks we're doing 2 shows or something. No. Or maybe he saw it on X. And I'm very gratified to say we've got quite a few people watching on X. That's wonderful. Thank you guys.
Yeah, what's the number?
67.
Oh wow, we're getting a whole
thank you guys for watching.
More.
Appreciate it.
67 people. That's a jump. Yeah,
quite a jump. That's that's where they want to be.
They want to be on X.
Tokame says the artists and creators of the original IP people, they were in their 70s. By mid-2000s, they were looking to retire, which was why they liquidated their assets. Yeah, that guy, what's his name? It's not Jason Priestley. It's Rick Priestley, the guy who created 40K and Warhammer. I almost said Jason Priestley, not 90210. You know,
that's right.
He is also gone to the great beyond.
Yeah.
Jason Priestley's dead?
Yeah, he died. He died like 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
No.
I think he died right after.
I'm thinking of Luke Perry.
That's Luke Perry.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm mixing all these guys together.
It's all right.
Jason Priestley became like a race car driver, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like he quit acting and
Formula One. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He's a badass, dude.
That is badass.
He did like one movie, which was that Calendar Girl movie about like chasing down Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
And then he took off to do race cars, I believe.
Bounced out to do the race cars.
Doing cool shit.
Well, Jason says people are here to see Billy's baby face. I know, that's why I'm here.
Oh my god.
I'm always soliciting him privately, but he always ignores me.
Oh my god.
I'm assuming we're getting all the views from Billy. So it must be Billy.
I mean, like, we're trying, you know. I'll ruthlessly exploit Billy for views. Of course I will.
Yeah. Somebody should.
Mr. Martinez said the details in the armor plates are just spectacular. Jason draws armor incredibly. Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah. That's true.
Hockey says Mr. T is dead and gay, right, Billy?
True.
And I don't think Mr. T is gay.
No, it's an inside joke. Like I believed somebody when they said that Mr. T had come out. Come out of the closet when on his deathbed. And I was like, man, that's
he's dead.
Crazy. Yeah, well,
I pity the fool I fucked in the ass.
Mr. T's actually dead.
No, and the guy gave me such a convincing kind of argument at the time. He's just like, yeah, I mean, it's like he said on his deathbed that he always thought it was kind of obvious that he was from that community, you know, with the jewelry and the long earrings and stuff. But like he ended up getting a lot of parts for just doing really macho guys. I was like,
you know what? Eddie Murphy was right there. Didn't he do
a whole
bit?
That is crazy. And and then turns out that yeah, that guy was just feeding me a bunch of bullshit, and I fucking believed it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, remember Eddie Murphy was talking about that in Raw. And he's like, I had a bad dream that Mr. T was a bundle of sticks.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, boy.
Yeah.
You're buying cute in them jeans.
Yeah.
Why don't you come over here and let me fuck you up in the ass?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Later on, he
So
says
good.
Ralph Cramden was one too. And he's like, there you go, Ralphie boy.
He's like, you're gonna slow down, boy. You're gonna come too fast.
I'm gonna put you on my cheek and rip your dick off.
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I believe that story. I'm just like, well, good on him for like, you know, finally coming out like on his deathbed.
You are intensely gullible, my friend.
Yeah, and then Jason, I think in Plagal at the time, were just like, dude, you're crazy. That didn't happen. That never happened.
Like, yeah, you stupid bastard. Of course not.
That did not happen. I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yes, very.
Yeah.
So that's what hockey's talking about. It has a long pedigree, this
Yeah.
joke.
Oh yeah. That joke's
It's very
So
fun
good.
though, because that's something I forgot about interacting with Billy. Billy Blake believes everything. He's like Ron Burgundy. You put it up on the teleprompter, he's gonna say it.
It was like I said, he gave a really compelling argument for it being true. So I like, you know, and
what's
at the time,
compelling about that?
Yeah. Tell me what's compelling.
What, he was on his deathbed? That's all it took, Billy? Yeah, he was on his deathbed.
Well, it was the thing where he was just like, yeah, you know, like he thought when, you know, it just the logical links that he was making. He's like, yeah, he never denied it, but he always thought it was obvious because of like how flamboyant he was with all the jewelry and, you know, the earring.
Because he was like an old school e-boy with the long dangly earring.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, like I guess that's, you know, could happen.
No. I mean, just because he did look like a village person doesn't mean he was.
and that's what it was. I was just like, okay, like that's
was there a black village person?
Yeah, dude.
Which one?
There better have been a black village person.
Which one was the black village person?
Indian.
He was the Indian.
He wasn't black. He was bronze.
I'm fucking with. He was bronze.
Yeah, he was bronze.
That's so awesome.
No, but seriously though, was there a black village person?
No, I don't fucking know, man.
Who was the cop? Was he black?
I don't remember. You should look it up. That's what you should do because I'm drawing.
Google black village person. Let's look it up. Let's look it up, guys. I'm gonna black
village.
It's gonna bring up like something I don't want it to bring up. Probably.
Of
course it did. It brought up the entirety of the African continent. like
black village, of course. That's not a very good search term. Black village person.
that was my boomer in me. I'm like, black village person. It's like, pick one, dude. Like where?
There's 1 billion people on our continent.
Band. Let's type that one in, guys. Black village person band.
Or just look up village people member.
Oh, he was a sailor.
He was the sailor. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No, in this picture, wait a minute. In this picture, he's the cop. Wait a minute. Are they just like taking pictures with people? Okay.
They're
he's the one that looks like Shipwreck. Yeah, he's the dude that looks like Shipwreck.
There you go.
Actually, there's two of them. I don't know what the hell he's dressed like. He looks like something out of the Warriors.
Awesome. Yeah.
They all look like they're in the Warriors.
Yeah, well, I mean that was the thing. I mean, and that was kind of Mr. T's look, just like looking like he was in, you know, the Warriors.
Can you dig it?
Yeah.
So crazy, man. No, Mr. T, I don't think was gay, but
no,
it would be awesome if he was.
You know,
it'd be funny.
Yeah, of course it'd be funny.
Luke says, laughing his ass off, we're discussing the real issues. Yep, we get down deep into what the other shows won't talk about because you're all scared.
Yeah. More people should talk about whether Mr. T is gay or not. It's what people want to know.
Or if like Freddy Krueger 2 or Nightmare on Elm Street 2, you know, being an allegory for coming out of the closet. If all 90s or 80s action shows were allegories for coming out of the closet. I mean, it was a red van with a black van with a red stripe. Open up and never mind.
Yeah, they just made really poor choices for, clothing and shit like that. But that was our parents' fault, by the way. The pink shirts they put us in, which I don't so much mind now. I don't care. But back then it was really kind of weird, and our parents just kind of dictated it. So it was, I don't know. They also like Thomas Kincaid. So anyway,
yeah. Well, I mean, the shift that even though it's 20 years long, the shift from the 60s and 70s into the 80s into the 90s fashion wise was a crazy time.
it was weird.
It
was weird. They didn't know what they were doing.
And the shift in media too was interesting.
Yeah.
In the 60s you had the Easy Rider period where it's like the youth are dominating culture. And then the 70s is the intense fallout of all that liberation. You're getting the serial killers, you're getting the slasher genre, you're getting Times Square looking like a dung heap. And then you get the 80s, which is, I think, kind of the pushback to all that. Where you're getting jingoism in movies now, you're getting Missing in Action, you're getting Rambo, you're getting Canada, you're getting all these foreigners that are coming in the United States and making these kind of American propaganda films, which is kind of interesting because all those studios were foreigners, like Canon Film and Carico. They're all run by Russians and Israelis, and they were making these like hardcore American movies. Wait a minute! Look who it is. The Art Jedi, our guest next week, has walked and entered the arena. Are you ready to draw next week? Can you dig it, Josh? You ready?
Can you dig it
for a double dose of this pimpin'? Can you do it?
Oops.
Yeah, it's gonna be brutal.
Oh yeah, and we've got a good month lined up of guests too. I'm very much looking forward to the rest of this month.
Yeah, we do. So Kelsey Shannon will be our guest 2 weeks from now.
Nice.
I love Kelsey. Kelsey's a fellow artist, and we kind of slummed around the same kind of people. So it'll be interesting to talk to him about his art and what he thinks about it. I think we're very similar creatures, and I just want to kind of pick his brain, see what he's all about,
We got to go get Nick back on here one of these days to do this type of format. Last time was more of a excuse me, Axe Wielder John stream. It'd be cool to just kind of get him on a draw stream to compete.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm competing or anything. I'm just trying to get this effing done before it gets too late.
Right.
Type of thing.
I'm definitely not competing with you.
We got quite a few people watching. Everyone's enjoying it. We're only about an hour, 40 minutes in,
Yeah, usually I'm trying to wrap it up around now. So yeah, we're gonna have
Mr. Martinez, we are looking forward to Kelsey and our good friend Josh.
Yeah, Josh will be fun to have too. I can't wait.
Hold on one moment. While we are doing this, we might as well show what Billy did on Black Flag.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Give me a moment. I'd like to show you his color for the book he did. Let me dig it out of my archives here.
You see me?
One moment. So yes, Billy. What Billy did was we have a supplemental book that was I think at 150,000. It was unlocked, and it was a whole other book that everybody's getting with their order on Black Flag. Yes, I know it's late, but you're getting a whole other quality book. If you're not, and Billy, in one of the stories, Matt Wilden did a 7-page story about Bubble and Spot, and Billy colored it, and it's very much a storybook kind of story. And I'm very glad Billy did it because he just bumped it up quite a bit. I remember Matthew Weldon was very happy with it when he saw it.
Nice.
Too. He thought it was quite cool.
That's
One
good.
moment, and I will show everyone what we got. All right. So this is the one I'm about to show you once it opens, because it's quite a big file. All right. You guys have probably seen this floating around the web, because Frega's shown it a couple times. But this is the first splash page that opens that. Excuse me. Here we go. That is the splash page that opens that story.
I haven't seen this in so long.
No.
Yeah.
And here you have Bubble and Spot, and they are in the middle of a conflict between these like monsters that are guarding the last Atlantean city and the pirates who are trying to rob them of their treasures. And they've kind of leapt in the middle of this conflict. And they're going to save the day by recovering the gauntlet of water from the Queen of the Atlanteans.
Well, and this was kind of my prove your. It was basically kind of like my what do you call it? My application.
Proof of concept?
Well, no, it was like my application because remember you guys had that guy that was the colorist for Arthur Adams that had already done this page, and you're like, "Do you think you could do better than this?" And I was like, "I think I can." Okay.
Right, and I like this much better. And Billy is known for doing a lot of effects, and I think it really works here because of the content of the story. I really love what he did in the background because Matt leaves a lot of negative space, and which is fine. His black and white work is beautiful. So Billy added a lot of beautiful things like painting that sky, a lot of these highlights on the crow back there, things like that. The effect on the cannonball hitting the pillars. A lot of beautiful things he added here.
It was fun. Like I knew I was going to be in for something neat. And it's like, and I got to kind of go all out a little bit just because I knew it was only going to be 5 pages, so I could really paint it.
Yeah. So this is pages 1 and 2, and then it goes to, everyone's seen that one. It's sort of like the money shot, but tell you the truth, sorry, I lost my files here. Excuse me, guys. The subsequent pages, I think, like the run of the mill stuff, like not the run of the mill, but the last page and the first 2 pages are kind of the money shots. But I think in between, Billy managed to color it in quite a painterly way. So yeah, here we go. This is another. Again, I don't think Frank really cares. He's shown these off before. Here we go. So they've landed, in the front of this temple. The monsters turn on them. They're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" And she's got like a sack of chum, and she kind of tosses it at the pirates to distract the guard dogs of this temple into going after the pirates.
Mm-hmm.
I think this stuff. I love the way he put these little effects on the stars around Spot's head.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the stars were there, but yeah, like I was just like, well, he's putting a little bit of comedy in there, so they're not like actual diegetic stars flying around his head. They're kind of, tongue-in-cheek stars.
Mm-hmm. And a couple of these I don't think people have seen, but you guys waited long enough. You guys can see some stuff from Black Flag. Come on. And it kind of shows everybody, there's stuff done. There's a lot of stuff done.
Oh my God! It just ruined his face so much.
So here, I love what Billy did here, especially that backlighting. It's on the shield of the Queen here, and the way he created this kind of crystalline pillars. And it helps a lot, especially that in panel. What is that? 5 when the pirates come in. I love the way you backlit that, Billy.
Yeah. It was fun stuff. I really liked doing that.
Oh my goodness. I'm probably going to have to finish this off screen. Unfortunately, my night is getting late.
All right,
Yeah,
I'll show this last page here.
I didn't get too far either, so that's fine.
Let's present this last page because I think this is my favorite. This is actually my favorite page from both Matt Weldon and Billy. I love this page.
Oh yeah, that was that's
Especially the water. You know, you added because again, you know, Matt's black and white. There's
nothing there, really.
Yeah, and you added this whole expanse. You painted this entire expanse here. And again, he saw it and thought you did an amazing job. So yeah, this is definitely my favorite page.
Wow. Nice.
All right. So, what do we got here, guys? What we have decided that I guess hockey is going to win this because Will Spain did not present himself.
He did not. He did not.
So you have won hockey. Congratulations.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Yeah.
Hockey wins it. Hockey. Hockey's the hockey.
That is your, so far. He's going to finish for you off screen.
Yeah.
But there he goes so far. He's still got some work to do on it.
I do. I think I messed it up quite a bit, so I have to fix this face, and I'm kind of pissed about it. So, but it's getting late here, and my wife has to go to bed. So, and let's have a
look at Billy's. What Billy did here. Boom.
Nice. I like Billy's better than mine.
Billy's just very simple. I like it. That's again. That's
I would have I didn't get to render really all the rocks and everything in the back, but I was just trying to create a mood piece with He-Man, and
that's something I would expect to see as a bit of like an advertisement above the toy section where they're premiering these toys, like a big card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would just be big over there above all these figures.
It's rough, but I mean it's formula. It's forming its way there.
No, I think he nailed it. So I pretty much just ruined this piece by over rendering this face. I just destroyed it.
Yeah, but he's gonna fix it, and you guys are gonna see it on Twitter. We're still finding our feed here. We'll get these done a little quicker in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Crager will figure out.
Wait, I forgot one thing. Oh, sorry, wait. So after working at the TV station, I always have to throw this in there because Will knows what I'm about. He doesn't know what I'm about to say, but he's heard this story before. So in between working at the news station and working in comics, because I was divorced now at this point, my daughter was getting older. I hooked up with another half Hawaiian, half black girl that ended up being batshit crazy, and she ran.
Oh my God! Tell this story. Okay, this is a good way to go out. Please tell this story because we laughed at the absurdity of it.
Because that was
up.
That was why I really wasn't working in between for those almost 3 or 4 years, was because I met a really smoking hot, like I said, half Hawaiian, half black girl, and
which means she's insane.
Totally insane.
What was her name?
Victoria.
Oh, okay.
No, Craig, you're not going to believe this story. This is it's absurd.
Well, and we were arguing in the car one day, and she started hitting me while I was driving, and she's like, pull the car over. I'm going to just start throwing your shit out the window. And I was just like, oh my God, we're on the freeway. I did not want my shit thrown out the window. So I pull over, and the minute I stop the car, she does start just throwing shit out the window. So she just starts throwing shit out the window on the side of the dirt in the berm there, So I'm like, oh God damn it. So I jump out of the car to try to grab my stuff. I start throwing it back into the back window of the car. And then I see her jump from passenger seat to driver's seat. And I kind of live out in the middle of nowhere. I live in a town of only 9,000. So it's just all rural around here, nothing.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to be just left out here in the middle of nowhere. So I try to jump back into the car,
Right.
And she hits the gas right as I'm like halfway in the car, and like the door frame of the car hits me on the side of the shoulder, spins me around, and my legs go under the car, and she just rolls right over my legs, crushing both my legs.
Just like keep going.
And then she was so, and then she didn't realize what she did, so she backed up and ran over him a second time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And then got out of the car and realized what she did, and then flagged down another car and said that I was like a murderer. I don't know exactly, like trying to get at her. And she just got into that car and then just left me right there on the side of the freeway to die.
Yeah, so picture that. Billy's mangled body is just laying on the side of this, thoroughfare.
My legs are like empty toothpaste tubes, just fucking done. And and she just bailed. She bailed on me, and then luckily some other people were driving by and actually saw it happen and looped back around and called paramedics and saved my life.
Now, didn't she go to like your friend's house? Say, I think Billy's
yeah. The first thing she did, I guess, was go to one of my friend's house, and she's like, "Spencer, what do? I ran Billy over with a car." And he looks at her. He's like, "Well, first thing you gotta do is get the fuck off my porch and get out of here."
Well, is he alive?
Yeah. Is he alive? Is he okay? Is he? Wow, dude, that's insane.
Well, because he always said she was crazy and didn't know why I was with her. Like everyone, there was a lot of signs. Like a lot of people were like you shouldn't be with this girl. She's gonna hurt you. She's crazy. I was like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna chance it.
I mean, Billy, I make fun of you, but unfortunately, I can relate.
And then after going through a bunch of rehabilitation and spending a little bit of time in a wheelchair and then like with a cane and stuff like that, and the veterans department said that like I should just pull SSI for the rest of my life and never work again.
Yeah,
I was like, but I'm depressed. Like if I don't work, I might just not live through this.
Right.
So I pumped the brakes on that whole thing. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna like. Literally, my daughter's out of the house now. I am getting help from the military, but like I'm not on complete like disability like help. I'm gonna put all of my energy into like trying to re-kickstart my art career.
Nice.
And it ended up working out.
And by the way, I know you see Billy in the same spot in his house, but he can walk. We sure.
Oh yeah, I can walk. Yeah, I can walk.
He's just lazy.
I assure you, I've seen Billy walk around. So I have seen him actually walk.
Yeah.
See, and you know what? Luke's right, and we see what happened when you didn't listen, Billy.
Yep.
On the flip side, though, Metal Movies and Brewski says that's scary, man. I'm glad you pulled through.
Oh, Plagal loves giving me crap about it too. Like
dude, when I heard it, I thought you were full of it when you first told me because it was you told it in such a way where it just kept getting more absurd and more absurd.
Yeah. Oh, and then I mean, she eventually got caught and was charged with attempted murder. And I
bet so.
Yeah, because she fled the scene of the crime.
Had to go and testify. And you're in a wheelchair.
I didn't have to. I chose to. And people are like, wait, you're going to go testify on her behalf? And I said, yes, because she doesn't deserve to be charged with attempted murder. She wasn't attempting to murder me. Like at most, it would be like vehicular. Not manslaughter, but it was an accident. It wasn't an attempt to murder me. So
sure?
Billy, you're the proto simp, dude.
Okay, wait. And Jason says, and Billy banged her after she got out of jail.
Exactly. That's what I was going to highlight. That. Yeah, of course he did, and it was great.
There you go.
I'm surprised you didn't have two kids.
The judge was shocked. They're like, you're gonna testify on her behalf? I'm like, well, because like I think what she's being charged with is too harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so rather than doing 20 years, she only did like 3.
I'm not sure what Tokume means, but he said I had a crazy ex put a hit on me back when I lived in Cali. Some women are just effing nuts. Yes, I procreated with one, so I understand.
Nice.
I'm still here. and we're doing the show weekly.
Yep.
And
We
Meathead
are
will get
weekly
done.
doing this. So I have to cut this short, guys. We have to go.
Yeah.
So,
And
so-
lastly, did you
It was
really?
great being here. Yes.
Jesus, Billy.
Great
All
getting
right.
to talk with you guys and share some stories and draw. That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Thank
It
you for
was
sharing your life with us,
very
Billy. We
fun.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course.
And
Thank you,
everyone
Billy.
on X and here on YouTube who joined us and
Yeah.
stuck it out with us. Thank you again for letting us do this with you guys.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being awesome. And
Good night.
we'll talk more about Meathead
Next week.
next week. And have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.